All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the JCPS Digital Learning Channel for our afternoon session on Wednesday, November 4th. We are happy to have you here today. If you're like me, you've been just clicking that refresh button on the Associated Press trying to see those numbers coming through. They haven't changed at all, so I don't know why I keep bothering, but I'm doing it anyway. So, happy to have you here. We have a wonderful show this afternoon, so let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule. We are going to start here at 12:30 with accessing on-demand interpretation services through phone and video with the lovely ladies from JCPS Language Services. Then at 1 o'clock, we're going to go to We Will Read and Write Through This with some awesome library media services people and some Ramsey Middle School all-stars. Then at 1:30, we have the MTSS Behavior Support Team specialists for middle and high schools. And then we are going to end the day using Equatio in math instructional design. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at JCPSDigIn. Use the hashtag JCPSDigIn to let us know what you're doing in your classroom with your students to make NTI awesome. We would love to give you a like, a follow, a retweet, and to continue to spread that brilliance around our district. Finally, if you don't know how to get to the learning schedule, go to jcps.me/NTI, click on the teacher toolkit, and go to the virtual learning schedule there. You can see this afternoon on that schedule, we also have our elementary science SAVIS training going on as well. We will have some people live in the chat with you from 4 to 5:30 to answer your questions about that program. So without further ado, we have our dynamic duo from Language Services here to talk to you about getting those interpretation services. Welcome back.
Hi, welcome back. Yes, thank you. This is Language Services team. We really appreciate this invitation. My name is Jenny. I'm a bilingual facilitator. And the other who is going to be helping us is Gretel Gongora, is the other facilitator. And our coordinator is in the shop answering any question that you have while we are presenting. Okay, so let's start. To find let me just, okay, we are gonna be sharing our screen. So, okay, Gretel, ready? Go.
Yes, I am. Welcome to JCPS Language Services. We are excited for the opportunity to share information with you about our role in the organization. The purpose of JCPS Language Services is to obtain language support. We help the district communicate effectively with international parents in their native languages. Each month, our team facilitates hundreds of district interactions with JCPS international families. Well, the services that we facilitate are in-person interpretation, document translation, over-the-phone interpretation, and video remote interpretation. Language Services has a dedicated webpage to educate JCPS administrators and teachers about these services. Our webpage also allows them to request and receive the language support that they need in a timely manner and with minimal effort on their part. You can contact us by either email languageservices@jefferson.kyschools.us or phone 502-485-6379 or 502-485-7938. Please keep watching to learn what you should do to ensure JCPS international families have equal access to education.
Okay, now we are gonna share the screen and we are gonna show you how to find our webpage. Okay, open your preferred internet browser. You are gonna type JCPS Home on the search bar. Hit enter. And then you are gonna open this link. And you're gonna be in the main JCPS page. Type Language Services on the JCPS website search bar located in the top right corner of your screen. So here, let's type language services. You don't have to memorize anything. That's only the 2 words that you have to keep in mind. Language services. Now click that link. And this is the language services webpage. We decided to use color tiles to present our information. There is one specific tile for each topic. On the left, you will find a tile for general information. Okay, here you are gonna find what we do, the sources of interpreters and translators, and very important, the confidentiality statement. This is really important because you are gonna be sure that the interpreters we are using to do this job, they keep a confidentiality and they are not gonna share any information. So, a tile that we create for parents' information. Here we can find different videos for them to learn about how to access the services. And a tile where you can access to our JCPS translation library. Very good tool here. We talk about this one in the morning. And a tile that we dedicate to our story. So, on the tiles on the right, you will find all services that language services facilitate. In-person interpreting, translation of documents, over-the-phone interpreting, and video remote interpreting. Also, you can find our contact information in the top right corner of the web page. Here you have our email and phones. You will see our office location and additional information about JCPS international population. Also, you can find this information if you are trying to locate a specific term service. You just have to click in the specific tile. In this session, we will show you how to access our on-demand interpreting services.
Okay, so let's talk about over-the-phone interpreting, OPI for short. This one is our most popular service, and you can access OPI by simply clicking on the tile. JCPS Language Services recommends the use of OPI when you need instant access to an interpreter. And thanks to our OPI service, all JCPS employees are now multilingual. You can access OPI by clicking on the Access OPI link. Here, you will see the steps you will follow to connect with an on-demand interpreter. Please know that you can access OPI from any office or personal phone. And let me tell you, when you are following the steps, that on the step number 3, that you need to provide an authorization code, you just contact language services via email or phone. A few things that we would like to point out here are, when you connect with an OPI interpreter, make sure you summarize to the interpreter what you are trying to accomplish. Any key points that you will cover, it will keep the interpreter prepared for terminology or cultural issues. Have your parent's name and number handy, because our OPI interpreter will assist you in connecting with the parent for you to have a three-way call. And also be prepared to leave a voicemail if the parent cannot take your call at that time. Now let's go back to the previous screen. In case this is the first time you are using OPI, or you just want to learn more about this service, you can check out our Learn More About OPI section by clicking this link. Here, you will find important information such as advantages of over-the-phone interpreting. It empowers you to speak any language in seconds. It allows a direct contact between you and your family, and there is no need to submit a formal request to language services. In which settings OPI is effective? Quick interaction with families, 30 minutes or less, scheduling conferences and meetings, reminder calls, phone calls, or meetings when face-to-face interpreter is not available. Tips for working effectively with an OPI interpreter: brief the interpreter, introduce yourself. You need to speak directly to the parent, and very important, pause every 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, so let's go back to the previous screen. Our on-demand interpreting do's and don'ts will help you understand. Let's click in here. When it is okay to use OPI. Emergencies, such as an ill or injured student, phone calls, scheduling conference, and private matter when parent prefers not to use a local interpreter. And also when not to use the JCPS interpreting service. Daily classwork. And let me tell you that the district assigns funding to language support for instruction through ESL bilingual instructions. Family appointments that are not school related, and American Sign Language. The district also provides a similar service at no cost. Now let's go back. In this same page, we are sharing 2 short tutorials on how to access an OPI interpreter. The first one, when you initiate a call, and the second one, when you receive a call. The first one is very important when you are calling parents, because the interpreter can complete the three-way call for you. And the second one is usually for clerks or front desk staff. When you are receiving a call from a parent and they say the language that you don't speak, just you can connect an interpreter, and this is very, very useful for you to have. Okay, so please watch the tutorials. Let's go back to the previous screen.
Okay, so now let's talk about the JCPS Language Services Video Interpreting. You can access this service by just clicking on this tab. JCPS Language Services recommends the use of video interpreters when you need instant access to a virtual interpreter. You can access video interpreting by clicking the Access VRI link. To be able to connect with video interpreters, you will need to install our Video Remote Interpreting app on one of the devices we list here. Click the link for your device for a step-by-step installation guide. The step number 3 is gonna ask you for the authentication code. So you are gonna call our office, or you are gonna send us an email, and we are gonna provide this authentication code. Remember, this is very important. Don't share this information with any parent or family, because this is only for JCPS employee. In case This is the first time you are using video interpreting, or you just want to learn more about this service, click the link, Learn More About VRI. Here, you will find important information, such as advantages of video remote interpreting. Is an on-demand connection to virtual interpreters, allows for reading body language and facial expressions. And it's really important to say here, when you are using this app, we have access to more than 200 languages. So this amount of more than 200 languages are available for us. In which setting video remote interpreting is effective? Sessions for which an on-site interpreter is not available. Quick interaction with family, 30 minutes or less. If you think your appointment is gonna last more than 30 minutes, you probably are gonna need an in-person interpreter, because the information that you are gonna share is sensitive, or you are gonna need like more explanation to the family. We have tips for working effectively with VRI interpreter. For example, make sure you summarize to the interpreter what you are trying to accomplish. Any key point that you will cover, it will help the interpreter to prepare for terminology or cultural issues. And here is very important not to use acronym, because they probably they don't know what the acronym means. Pause every 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, and you can see others here. It's really important for you to read first and then access to a VRI interpreter. Let's go back to the previous screen. And we are gonna check our on-demand interpreting do's and don'ts. When is it okay to use video remote interpreting? Emergencies, such as an ill or injured student. Probably the student wanna show you, is telling you that some body part or something like that you need to show, and it's gonna be really easy and more effective if you use a video interpreter. Private matter, and parents prefer not to use a local interpreter. And also, in which setting you should not use video remote interpreting. For daily classwork, remember, the district assigned funding to language support for instruction through ESL bilingual instructors. Family appointments that are not school related. Okay, let's go back to the previous screen. In this same page, we are sharing a short tutorial on how to access a VRI interpreter. We recommend you to watch this tutorial before you use video remote interpreting. Okay, so let's talk about our app. Here is the app. It's gonna look like this when you install it in your computer. Using the video remote interpreting app is the fastest and easiest way to access trained interpreters, including audio interpreting. When you open the app, you are going to select the language. You can also search by language or country in the search bar. For example, if you put French, it's gonna tell you countries where French is spoken. There are languages with phone and video availability. See, you can see they have both options. And others will allow you just to complete audio calls. So if you only see this, it's because there is not an audio, a video interpreter available. Tap the desired language and tap again to initiate a video or audio call. By clicking on Help and Settings, You will be able to check a video interpreter availability. See here. And view your call history. So once you click the link, it will show you date, time, language, and duration of the call. And here is going to show you interpreter name and ID number. This will come handy when you need to document what you are doing with your family. So if you don't remember when you realize the call, you just go to call history and you're going to find that information there. Okay, Gretel.
Okay. So this is all the explanation that we got about the on-demand. Anyway, if you have any questions, remember that we have Liban Lima, our coordinator, in the chat, and he's going to be more than happy to answer your questions. So in conclusion, thank you for watching. We really appreciate your interest in learning more about the role of JCPS Language Services. Just to recap, JCPS Language Services obtains language support for district staff to build effective home-school communication and promote meaningful family engagement in their students' education. Our services are available to all JCPS regardless of program affiliation. And when I say this, I'm talking that a bus driver or a cafeteria manager can use our services. Also, if the family students belongs to early childhood, belongs to ECE, they can still use our services. And even if the student belongs to ESL program or does not belong to ESL program, you are going to be able to use our services. So our services, JCPS employees can conveniently learn and access our services from the Language Services webpage. International families can request language support by calling, sending a note, or visiting their schools. However, remember that a JCPS employee always has to be in charge of accessing the actual service. Language support is an expense. Therefore, JCPS employees are responsible to manage the cost. We will be happy to answer specific questions via email to languageservices@jefferson.kyschools.us or phone to 485-6379, 485-7938. Please contact our office if you need help determining which communication method might be more effective for what you're trying to accomplish. Again, thank you for watching.
Well, two great sessions from you all today. Thank you so much for being here with us and for passing on this really, really important information. So thank you. We appreciate you. All right. Bye. All right, everybody. It is 12:53. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on here. In just a few minutes, we will read and write through this with the Ramsey Middle School ELA team. Then, following that, we have the MTSS Behavior Support Team, and then we have Using Equatio and Math Instructional Design. We are 8 followers away, or 8 subscribers away, on the JCPS Digital Learning Channel from hitting 7,000. You can see 6.99K. So if you haven't followed us or subscribed to us yet on there, please do. We love to be able to provide content to you all that you can watch live or that you can watch later with the power of pause. We have about 6 minutes left, so I'm going to find a video here that I think will be fairly short. So we'll do backpack, and this was one that's we'll say uploading. Let's see here if I can find it. Uploading back. Here we go. It's the one that I did earlier. This one is uploading backpack artifacts from our phone for students. So we're going to play this for 3 minutes, and then we'll be back right before our next session starts. School Digital Innovation Leader here in JCPS. And today, we're going to talk about uploading backpack artifacts from your phone. So you can see on my phone screen, I have my cute little dog Pip in there, and we are going to go to the Google Chrome app, which I already have downloaded. So we're going to click there. And what we're going to do, so you guys don't have to see any of my personal info, we are going to go create a new incognito tab. You can just do a normal tab for yourself, but I'm going to do an incognito one so you can see me go through the sign-in process. So in my search bar, I am going to type in jcps.me/backpack, and we're going to go there now. I'm going to log in with G Suite, just like you would, and I'm going to use my student tester account. So I use my @student.jefferson account to log in, and I'm actually going to select all, and I'm going to copy that line of text. That way when I log in via Microsoft in just a second, I don't have to type that whole thing back out. So now it brings me to JCPS Office. I'm going to hold down and paste. That way I don't have to type out my email again. It's a pro tip for you. And I'm going to type my password in. And now when I click sign in, you will see that I am in the JCPS backpack. Now, I can see everything here that I usually would. I can see the JCPS choice boards from NTI. I can see Clever. I can see the Student Success Tracker. I can see showcases, and I can see artifacts. So let's go to artifacts, and now you can see that I have full access to these artifacts just like I would on a computer. For school year 2021, I want to add a new artifact, and I'm going to pick something from a file. So let's click on File, and I'm going to select a file from my device. I'm going to go to Photo Library. Now, I'm going to be a prepared and resilient learner. I've learned how to cook some meals over the summer, and I'm going to click on my eggplant parmesan. I'm going to click Done, and you'll see that when I click Upload, there we go. My photo is uploaded, and I have selected that I am a prepared and resilient learner. I'm going to click OK. And so what you'll see down here is something that we encourage all students to fill out as they upload their artifacts. Describe the learning experiences that led to this artifact. So I learned how to cook. And this is up to your school on how this is filled in. It's up to how it aligns with your backpack plan as well. And I could type in there whatever I need to in order to explain how me learning how to cook eggplant parmesan applies to prepared and resilient learner. And that is how you upload artifacts to the JCPS backpack from your phone. I did this on an iPhone, but the process will be very similar on an Android. You just go to Google Chrome, you go to the backpack, you sign in as a student, and then you select your artifacts to upload. Thank you. Have a great day. Alrighty. Oh man, I came back. I came back into our call here. There's so many people here. This is great. Sorry, we had a few minutes, so I wanted to make sure that we weren't just having time of me talking on the channel. So I'm going to go through some things, and then it's all you guys. So it is 12:58, JCPS Digital Learning Channel. Thank you for tuning in with us. If you are with us this afternoon, please let us know where you're from, what you teach, and if you have any questions, we would love to get those answered for you. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the schedule. We have an awesome panel in our call here this afternoon for our 1 o'clock session, which is we will read and write through this, and that is going to be awesome. After that, at 1:30, we have the MTSS Behavior Support Team Specialist for middle and high schools coming in, and then we're going to end our day using Equatio and math instructional design. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at JCPSDigIn. That does stand for Digital Innovation. And you can tweet to the hashtag JCPSDigIn. We would love to give you a like, a follow, a retweet, and to make sure that we continue to spread that brilliance around the district and around the state so we can all become better together. If you don't know how to get to any of this information, go to jcps.me/NTI. Click on the Teacher Toolkit. On there, you can get the live virtual learning schedule. You can have a link that'll take you right to the NTI 2.0 Teacher On Demand playlist on our JCPS Digital Learning YouTube channel. There's also a bunch of other stuff on here for Gale, Realize, Mastery Connect, Literacy Footprints, Google Classroom, Screencastify. So just a big one-stop shop here for you. at jcps.me/NTI. So we have a great session for you all. We will read and write through this, and I'm just going to pass it off to our amazing panel that we have here with us. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all today?
Hi, doing well, thanks.
Good. So it's 1 o'clock and the floor is all yours.
Well, thanks for having us. And I just want to thank our amazing team of teachers from Ramsey for putting this together and being a part of this, and for the partnership with Library Media Services. We have Pam Coomer here. And so this is kind of our first step into spotlighting teachers for the amazing work that they're doing in NTI. We are going to be focusing on the first 3 Wednesdays of December on really focusing in on instruction during NTI. And so we're so glad that Ramsey was ready to go today and get us started. We'll be looking at asynchronous versus synchronous engagement, dialogical opportunities, maximizing literacy opportunities, student engagement, discourse, all of those things that we know our students need. And so Ramsey, some of the best in ELA in doing this. And so I can't wait for them to share with everyone how they are engaging their students in reading and writing. So thank you all again for your work and for being here. And I'll be managing the chat over on the Digital Learning Channel page, and they will be running the presentation from here.
All right, so I will work on sharing a screen. And you'll have to bear with me as I figure this out on Google Hangouts.
Oh, you're fine. It should be the 3 dots at the top right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I'm there. Am I going to share the entire screen, I guess?
Yeah, you could do that. That's fine. Yep, there you go. All right, that's perfect.
Okay. Are we turning on closed captions?
I would love it if you could, yes. Reading my mind. And then, to turn it on, you just have to hit where it says CC in that box right there. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So as Suzanne mentioned, this is the We Will Read and Write Through This 2020, presented by Morgan Compton, Jessica Gilkey, myself, Gina Shepard, all from Ramsey, and Pam Coomer. We're excited to share these great things we're doing. The things we'll cover, and this is just a really short, quick glimpse of all the great things we have, but Morgan will start with encouraging independent reading at home, choice, volume, quality. And then myself and my 6th grade PLC will go over encouraging writing and promoting student choice through NTI. And then Pam Coomer will go through some library digital reading resources.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'm going to be primarily talking about how we are tracking independent reading online with our students. I'm Morgan Compton. I am the 8th grade language arts teacher at Ramsey Middle. So thank you guys for joining us. So if you'll go into the next slide for me. So I'm going to talk about 3 main components today that we've looked at and incorporated in trying to get our students reading at home through this virtual process. The first is student choice and encouraging our students to read with the resources that they have and that we can offer. So we have encouraged kids to pick books from their homes or their libraries, and if they don't have that resource, we've encouraged digital resources as well. The ones our group is mainly using is Teen Book Cloud, Macinvia, and Sora, and I'll go over that a little more in detail in a minute. The next thing is we want volume. We want our kids reading regularly, even though we're not seeing them as frequently as we used to. So we are encouraging our students to read about 20 minutes a day, between 10 to 20 minutes. And we're doing that in some creative different ways as well that I'll cover today. And then finally, student quality. We want to know that what they're reading is also connecting to our standards that we're teaching. And we want to have a way to assess that and give our kids feedback through rubrics and through different sources. So if you'll go to the next slide for me. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is student choice. We all know the challenge of getting our kids access to the resources while they're at home. So of course, if kids have books at home that they already love, that's wonderful, but a lot of our students don't. So our school has pushed a couple different platforms, and I know the librarian later is going to talk about some digital resources that will be great for this. But I have found that narrowing it down to just a few and helping our kids really navigate those well has been the most successful. So the one we really love at our school has been Mac and Via. Our kids have access to that. They've really enjoyed it. They can check out the books. They can have an audio book with the physical book they're reading. So that's been a really successful option. And we've taken our live lessons to demonstrate how to use these resources and help kids pick them out. We've done book scavenger hunts to get them engaged with it. Okay, another way to get them interested in the books is our weekly book talks. We introduce new books by giving an overview or a snapshot of the book, and then we let them hop on the digital resource to see if they can find it or check it out to read it. And then we also want kids sharing about their choices in our live lessons. So on our Nearpods or our collaborative boards, we have students sharing out about their reading after they do it. So if you'll go to the next slide, I've just got a couple examples of book talks. Keep going, one more. So this is an example of a book talk slide that we would just insert into our live lesson, where you just give a brief overview or kind of like a trailer to a book and have kids see if this poses any questions to them, and then have them go look for the book on these resources. Go ahead to the next one. This is another example of a book a lot of our students might be interested in, so we would give them this brief resource. Okay, go ahead to the next slide. So volume, how are we encouraging them to read lots of works over this time, and not just little excerpts or things here or there in our live lesson? The biggest way we've done this is we designed a reading log to track their reading, where they can see over time how much they're reading, and they can give us information on page numbers and how long it's taking them to read the pages they're reading. So there's a link in this slide, and it'll be posted afterwards, to our reading log we designed that is standards based. So every week they have a prompt that's connected to the standards. So an example of a prompt might be, make a claim about how the setting of your book impacts your character. And they would read all week, and they would record their pages read, and they would then tell us at the end of the week how the setting impacted their character with quotes from their book. So it's giving us that quality content that we want, but it's also having kids be held accountable and tracking their reading. Another version of this log I've got on the side here on the slide is a reading log. It's the same thing, just the prompts kind of blown up a little bit more. And we are using in this prompt the CEA writing concept that our whole school has adopted school-wide, where all of our students respond to their writing in paragraph form with a claim, evidence, and analysis. So that's been a huge help, is that across the board at Ramsey, all of our kids, we are pushing this writing in all content areas, and we have that unity in our school. And if you'll go on to the next slide for me. And then finally, quality. So we want our students to produce the quality work. And again, as I said, being unified as a school about our writing program and what we're pushing with that really helps all the kids to know, this is the format of my writing. This is what my teachers are looking for online. This is an example of a rubric that we would use to score one of their reading log responses. So to get mastery, a student would make a claim based on what the prompt was, the standards-based prompt. They would give evidence with correct citation from their books, and they've been doing this, and then they would give an analysis. So if you'll go to the next slide, I have a student example of that. So this is an example of a student who has demonstrated mastery in this. This is one of my own students responding to our reading log, and you can see the quality of this work. They went in and they had their claim, the setting of the novel impacts the character. She said specifically Thomas, because it helps to further the plot of the story. Then I have my student highlighting their evidence. So from their book, what evidence did they find of this? And then they have an analysis where they explain how that evidence proves their claim. So we use this model throughout our school, but it's also tied into our reading logs, and it's how we're getting that quantity and quality. And also briefly, I wanted to mention an alternative way that we are getting books into the hands of kids. And I'm going to let Miss Howlett talk about that. And that'll segue into her part as well, because they've been reading some books at home.
Sure. We in the 6th grade figured we needed an anchor text to have all the students reading the same book at the same time. So we encourage students to purchase a copy of A Monster Calls, and we've also provided a free PDF version that they could use, because why not ask families to get involved in that way? They might want to and be eager to. So we've had success in asking them to get that book or to follow along with us in a whole class novel. And even though today we have separated reading and writing a little bit, it really is hard to separate them. We read and write through this kind of together, but we'll focus more on writing now. And we know that it's really important. Young people have stories to share, and we want them to know, we want to hear their stories. I think you get to know a student so well through their writing. And our first unit, we do all of our work in terms of units. So we're on our 2nd unit now, but our first one was, what is our community's story? And I'm all about the quality work indicators of being able to get a student to share their work with an audience beyond the classroom. So our first goal with that was to partner with Young Authors Greenhouse. In there, we will write through this project, and it's for anyone ages 6 to 18. And the topic of it was the pandemic or protests. And it's still going on now. So they'll still take your submissions until December 15th. But we loved giving students an opportunity to share what they thought about real world issues on a personal level in a way that would contribute to the community as a whole. And this link here on our presentation will take you to a free downloadable booklet of writing prompts. And Ms. Gilkey later will show you how we use that. And so in this unit, to get them thinking about that writing, we went through presentations, getting them to reflect on what's been going on. There's a little quote on here. It says, "We do not learn from experience. We will learn from reflecting on experience." So we had them reflect on how their life has changed since March of 2020. We watched videos on PBS Learning Media website, different ways people are seeing the positive in all this. And we looked at a quote from Barack Obama and watched the Kid President video, How to Change the World, having students think about how they can take what they've experienced and make the world a better place. And Jessica is going to take it from here.
Hi, I'm Jessica Gilkey, and I teach 6th grade English with Ms. Howlett and Ms. Shepard. So this is our We Will Write Through This student choice board. We have found a lot of success with choice boards because it builds ownership for our students and allows them to display mastery in whichever way they prefer. So as you can see on the right, we let them do a recipe for change. So they could literally write out, ounce of courage, a cup of hope. And then we let them do poems, make a list, what's in, what's out, letters of gratitude. They could write letters to teachers, healthcare workers, whoever they preferred. They were able to do a drawing or a picture and then write about it. And then a lot of our students are very interested in music. So we let them create a pandemic playlist. So we try to hit on all of our students' interests as much as possible. And then recently we did digital notebooks. So on the left, we were able to allow them to decorate their digital notebooks. As you can see, a lot of them showed their favorite sports or they put their names on their notebooks. And then on the right, we did brainstorming in their notebooks and then had them analyze chapters 1 and 2 of A Monster Calls. And we used a Google add-on called Slip and Slide. So this let us add in pages to their notebook every week. Instead of having them create a whole new notebook, we were able to let them add slides and continue building on the notebook. And then these are some examples of our students' work. We give our students opportunities to display their work and show their voice matters, not only by publishing it through the Young Authors Project, but they were able to show their classmates, families. We shared these on our social medias, our Twitter pages, and let them have a voice within our own community. And these are some examples of our fridge-worthy work. It builds a sense of community at Ramsey within our 6th grade academy to have our students share their work with one another. So these are just some examples of Breastfeeds for Change, letters to healthcare workers, teachers.
All right, this is Miss Shepherd, and I'm going to talk about building relationships through writing. Recently, we did a bio poem and life writing assignment, and while it is tied to standards, it also gets us a chance to build relationship with kids. And you could even make it cross-curricular as well. So use your social studies and science teachers as well. With the bio poem, you could make it about the main character of the text you're reading. It could be about a historical figure, or it could also be about a scientist you are studying as well. So try to build in cross-curriculum writing and as well as relationship building through writing. And then also just getting engaged through unique units or just making it creative, getting them engaged is going to be really successful to increase that rigor as well. Using an anchor text, we created a calendar for the kids so that they know what is upcoming. We have, again, choice boards, as Ms. Gilkey had said. That way they can demonstrate mastery, but in a way that they want to, creating a simplified rubric. So showing them what does it take to get that 4, to master that. And then from there on, it's just missing certain components. You also want to alternate between writing workshops and reading assessments. So we don't make them read and write all in one week, because that is a lot. We only see them, at least at our school, twice a week. So we alternate between writing workshops and then a reading assessment as well. Paper up-like assessments just to keep that rigor up. And we found a lot of success with that as well.
All right. Hi, I'm Pam Coomer, and I'm an instructional resource librarian at Library Media Services. I'm going to walk you through accessing eBooks for your students. We will start at your school library LibGuide. So if you've never accessed the library LibGuide, begin at the NTI Student Toolkit and select the Online Books and Gale Database icon. And on the next slide, you'll see that you need to select your school and click the link to be directed to your school library LibGuide. If you're not aware of all of the resources on the LibGuide, I highly suggest you investigate all the great things that are housed on the LibGuide. Next slide, please. There are 2 resources provided through Library Media Services with access on the homepage of the LibGuide. First, Abdo Digital Bookshelf provides access to 30 ebooks with simultaneous unlimited access. This means that all students can access the same book at the same time, and they're always available. Next slide. The second resource is Gale eBooks. There are approximately 13 reference books with subjects in the arts, history, literature, and social science. These ebooks are also unlimited access. Next slide. On the school library LibGuide, there's a tab titled NTI Online Books and Resources. When you open this tab, you will find the access point to ebooks on various platforms. I'm going to briefly cover those platforms now. Next slide. Teen Book Cloud is provided through Kentucky Virtual Library and contains ebooks and audiobooks. They have approximately 1,000 unlimited access books. Specific features include enhanced ebooks that provide professional narration with line-by-line highlighting. The Common Core portal provides standards and lists of correlated books and resources available through Teen Book Cloud. National Geographic videos are also available on this platform. Next slide. The EBSCO eBooks K-8 collection is also provided through KYVL, and it contains unlimited access ebooks. One of the best features of this collection is access to Spanish language books. There are approximately 158 titles in Spanish. This collection is also integrated with Google Classroom. Next slide. The Sora platform, which is Overdrive, is provided free through the Jefferson County Remote Reading. Access to this free version contains approximately 400 books. The books are single use and students will check out for a 14-day lending period. Specific features worthy of noting include a dyslexic font available for students who need that adaptation. Also, a student's Sora account can be linked to their Louisville Free Public Library card, which provides access to all of the LFPL resources appropriate for the student's age and grade level. An instructional video showing how to link Sora and LFPL is linked in this slide by clicking on the LFPL icon. Schools have the option to purchase a subscription to Sora. If your school has this subscription, your students will have access to additional titles. Check with your librarian for more information. Next slide. Mac and VIA also has provided a free platform for JCPS. This includes 480 ebooks with unlimited access. The Mac and eBooks have text-to-speech, which is a great feature for students. Please note that this service is set to expire December 31st. This is another subscription that schools have the option to purchase. And again, I suggest you check with your librarian for more information. Next slide. Our department has an infographic detailing ebook resources available to JCPS students. This is linked on this slide for your reference, but I want to show you some highlights on the next slide. Library World is the access point to your school's library card catalog. You can search for books and ebooks available in your school library. Access to the library LibGuide is also linked from this document. Information about accessing library cards from LFPL is also listed here. And if you are not familiar with teachingbooks.net, I strongly recommend you take a look. This is a great resource for ELA teachers especially. Next slide. At the end of last school year, I created summer reading choice boards for middle and high school. I have provided them in this presentation as a frame of reference. I created these boards around genre and provided recommendations based on, if you like this book, try this one. Each recommendation shows which platform the books can be found on. If you have questions about the reading choice boards, you can email me. I would be happy to assist you. Next slide. The next slide is the high school summer reading choice board. So we'll go to the next slide. It's always a good idea to be aware of copyright laws associated with books. This slide links to an extensive list of publishers and their permissions around fair use for read-alouds and other usage of books. Next slide. My final advice to you when trying to connect books with students is to ask your librarian for assistance. They are ready and willing to support you and your students in any way possible. Here is a list of questions to get you started. Ask your librarian for login and password information for KYVL, Gale, and teachingbooks.net. Ask your librarian if your school has subscriptions to Sora, Mac and VIA, or other digital resources. Ask your librarian to come to your classes and demonstrate how to access ebooks and other digital resources. They are prepared and have the information you and your students need to get through non-traditional teaching and learning. I appreciate you joining us today, and now I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Hallett.
Just as a wrap up, What are the kids saying about reading and writing via NTI 2.0? And you can see some of their quotes here. So I accidentally read the whole book. I'm so excited to read in your class. This book is so addicting, I could not stop reading. I love being able to express myself. I love my digital notebook. And some favorite assignments, the bio poem, the book thing we're doing in first period, reading A Monster Calls, life writing. So you can see that they are really engaged with the reading and writing components of NTI.
All right, nice job, ladies. That is the end of our presentation.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Great presentation. I think I might have said it before, but we will have this broken up and put on the channel. That way people can go back and view it with the power of pause. So thank you.
Matt, thank you so much. Will you send us the video or tell us when that's ready? Because we are going to want to share this on our ELA website and across the district for secondary ELA teachers. So will you let us know when that's ready to go so we can share it with all of our networks?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make a note for myself. I'll email it to you tomorrow after I get it split up and ready to go. So.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Hope y'all have a great Wednesday after Election Day. Not that it matters, but it's not done yet. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right, everybody. It is 1:25. Thank you for tuning in with us today. We are going to take a look at some different things before we get started on our 1:30 session. If we look, we just got done with We Will Read and Write Through This 2020. Again, I will have that split up tomorrow morning and put on the channel. So all of the videos or all the sessions you've watched today will be broken up for viewing with the power of pause tomorrow. Next up, we have the MTSS Behavior Support Team Specialist for middle and high schools coming in. And then we'll be ending from 2 to 3 with using Equatio in math instructional design. Equatio is one of those things that I'm sure you've seen pop up on your Google Forms as you make them. Not sure if you know how to use it yet, but we're going to learn today. So remember, you can follow us on Twitter at JCPSDigIn. That stands for Digital Innovation. You can also, when you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn. That'll make sure that we see it. You'll get a like, you'll get a follow, you'll get a retweet, and we can continue to share our brilliance around the district and around the state to continue to grow and be better educators together. Everything you need during NTI can be found on the JCPS NTI website. So if you go to jcps.me/NTI, that'll take you right here to the homepage. You click on the teacher toolkit. Ooh, I'm so sorry. Not enough coffee this morning. Click on the teacher toolkit, and you'll be able to click on the live virtual learning schedule. You can also click and see the NTI 2.0 Teacher On Demand playlist, as well as seeing all these other things down here, like the National Quality for Online Teaching Standards. We have links to Gale, Literacy Footprints, Edmentum. What else do we have? We have some other departmental resources on here. So we have junior achievement things. We have health services, ESL, high school counselors, middle school counselors, gifted and talented resources. We also have some options if you want to become more digitally agile and become a certified teacher in something like Google or Apple, or our lovely Kathleen Receiver is going to start doing Minecraft certifications here soon. So it'll be very, very awesome to start to explore that. Also remember, I don't know if you saw last week and the week before, we had some SAVIS trainings, or DBQ if you're a social studies teacher. We've been doing those trainings after school on the Digital Learning Channel. So today, from 4 to 5:30, we have Elementary Science SAVIS with the SAVIS team, Lacey Eccles, Charlotte Ivy, and Digital Innovation's very own Stephen Durham. They will be showing the same session, the training session that we did a couple weeks ago, but they will be live in the chat to answer any questions that you may have. So if you teach elementary science and you want to learn a little bit more about how to use SAVIS with it, please tune in and make sure you ask them any questions that you may have. In just a second, I will post the schedule for today in the chat. And if you're joining us, please let us know where you're from, what you teach, and if you have any questions for us. We are happy to be here. We will be doing if we go back and look at the schedule, we'll be doing these sessions on Wednesdays going forward. So you can see November 11th and 18th, we have sessions going on there as well. Those are both Wednesdays. And then when we come back from Thanksgiving, we'll be doing an AIC and Teacher Showcase instructional series, which will be the best practices for teaching during NTI. So we'll get to see every Wednesday several hours of some awesome educators around the district who are just doing great things with their students and for their families and communities. So it is 1:29. And I think we might be ready to move on to our next session. I see one of our presenters in the chat now. So remember, this one is MTSS Behavior Support Team Specialist for middle and high schools. Is it? Hi, there you are.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are we still waiting on David? Is that who it is?
David is going to be managing the chat room.
Oh, perfect.
So he's going to just kind of be on the side. He's not going to be visible.
Okay. Well, it is 1:30, so I will let you introduce yourself and then kind of take it away.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Were you able to find where to share your screen?
That's what I'm looking
Okay.
for.
So at the top right, there should be some three dots right there next to the little settings wheel, and then you should just go to share screen, and then you can click full screen or just a window if you want to, and then you can present from there.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And then,
right.
oh, sorry, before you get started, do you know how to turn on closed captioning?
I do not.
Okay, so if you don't mind to click that little X at the bottom where it says show all, we can see like your downloads and stuff. There you go. Perfect. So now, if you look at that bar at the bottom, you'll see a box that says CC.
Okay.
If you don't mind, just click where it says CC for me. That'll turn on your closed captions. You actually have to, instead of the arrow, you would click on where it actually says CC. Like click on, there you go. Perfect.
All right.
All right, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Welcome, and thank you everyone for taking the time to learn about our MTSS team and behavior support specialists and the supports that we provide for Jefferson County Public Schools. My name is Celeste McGinnis. I'm a licensed and board certified behavior analyst, and I'm excited to present to you today some information specifically about how our supports look in the middle and high schools. I, along with my counterpart, David Spencer, are the support specialists for middle and high schools in JCPS. David, by the way, is with us responding to questions and comments in the chat area, so please feel free to utilize that area as we go along if you have any additional questions. So who are we? Our team of 11 specialists are made of 10 board certified and licensed behavior analysts. We're also known as BCBAs, and we also have one certified school psychologist. Our specialization is the science of human behavior and how to change, shape, and teach these behaviors. Our team is separated by zone areas. Zone 1 elementary schools are being supported by Amy Porter, Jordan Hall, and Morgan Hunt. Zone 2 elementary schools are being supported by Brandon Franklin, Holly Birch, and Sam Shookley. Zone 3 elementary schools are being supported by Kim Moore and Yolanda Williams. And middle and high schools are being supported by myself and David Spencer. We also have our school psychologist, Lorraine McMillan-Lee, who provides additional supports across all the zones and levels. So what is our primary goal as a team? Our goal is to work along with current teams within JCPS schools to build capacity utilizing our behavior expertise. Our approach is consultative in manner as we aim to empower staff with necessary skills to prevent and respond to challenging behaviors while improving student success with least restrictive measures and evidence-based practices in the regular school setting. Coming into middle and high schools, we know that it is not only important to ensure the individual student A focus is receiving the behavior support they need, but also ensuring that we work collaboratively with the student's entire team. These teams often and should include their pods of teachers, counselors, mental health practitioners, assistant principals, coaches, cafeteria staff, security members, etc. We have a bunch of individuals that we tend to interact with that could be of support to the student. So we tend to reach out to any and everyone who interacts with that student so that we can all come together and develop a plan for the student. We also consider the students' parents and guardians as a vital part of the student support team. Therefore, we connect with them and involve them in the intervention planning process as often as possible. We wanted to ensure our supports consistently align with the 3 pillars of success at JCPS. So how does our support align with the Backpack of Success skills pillar? By teaching the necessary skills through supporting teachers and administration, we give our students increased opportunities to remain engaged in the classroom where they're able to access the enriched content, filling up their backpacks with meaningful skills and experiences. We understand that the skills deficits and socially and behaviorally often impede the success of our students. Our middle and high school students are especially faced with multi-level challenges that require interventions that address them specifically. Therefore, by identifying these challenges and addressing their individual deficits, we can work together to meet their needs and remove these deficits as barriers so they can be as successful as possible. How does our support align with the racial equity pillar? Our supports address behaviors from a functional standpoint, which instills practices for school staff to address behavior through environmental changes as opposed to by race or gender. This in turn creates the opportunity to have more equitable approach to student behavior. To ensure racial equity is a continual focus, we make sure that we are cognizant to cultural awareness and the development of student programming and planning, as well as with trainings with the teachers and administrators. How does our supports align with the culture and climate pillar? By equipping schools with proactive and positive behavior supports in the classroom, we hope to reduce challenging behaviors, increase productivity, and ultimately positively impact the culture and climate of not only the classroom, but also the building it spills into every day. So we understand that not only does our supports provide supports for the individual that we interact with, but we are also supporting the school as a whole because we are helping with the teachers as well as the administrators and anyone else in the school building to ensure that the student is as successful as possible and providing a positive environment for everyone involved. When might a school request this level of support? Schools may request support after Tier 1, 2, and 3 school level interventions have attempted to utilize supporting general education students and has yielded limited response and reduction of challenging behavior. Therefore, there's an indication of need for specialized consultative assistance to support the implementation, training, and coordination of Tier 3 individualized supports. Typically, we are contacted on the middle and high school level by administrators that see a student that has a high number of behavior incidences and or suspensions. Sometimes they're frequently absent or they're struggling academically. All of these play a part in the struggles that the student is facing. So occasionally these students are also on the verge of being recommended to an alternative placement. So therefore they usually have made attempts to intervene by conferencing with the student, reaching out to parents, and in any other way that they can think of to try to intervene with the student to help them to be successful. So when they try to do that and it does not seem to be showing any progress, typically they reach out to us to come in, and our response is to support the student and their team in reviewing the data, the history of interventions that have been used, and to help determine the function or the why the behaviors are occurring in the first place. That way, the interventions that are put in place are as effective as possible. So what does it look like when we actually come to the school to provide supports in the middle high school level? So initially, what we do is we make contact with the student's team of teachers to introduce ourselves and behavior supports. Occasionally or oftentimes the teachers will reach out to the administrators and say, hey, I'm having difficulties with this student. What can we do? And so the administrators will reach out to the board for extra support. And so oftentimes we reach out to the teachers to ensure that they have an understanding of who we are and what type of supports they can expect from us. The next thing we do is we reach out to the parent and guardian. We want to ensure that they are aware of the supports that their student is being provided, ensure that they are on the same page as knowing what's going on with their student. And we also like to introduce ourselves, build a rapport with them so that they are interactive and a part of the actual process. Additionally, we'll provide resources to the parent because sometimes the struggles tend to spill over into the home and into the school, vice versa. So we want the parent to be on board and we want to help them as much as possible with anything that they may need in the home. So we'll talk to them and provide resources as needed. The next thing that we do is we interview all the individuals that interact directly with the student. We do this to obtain information about what strategies have been used, what they have determined to be triggers for this student behaviorally, what type of positive interactions have occurred, and what have they noticed to be preferences for the student. These are individuals that have likely built a rapport with the student, so they're able to provide a lot of information to us so that when we get a good start of what's going on to determine what's going on with the kiddo, we can get that information and use that in the process. When we actually start supports, what that looks like is we want to do observations in different classroom settings in the middle and high school. So since each middle and high school students go to different periods, we want to check out how these students are in each different period. So when we do this, we don't necessarily want to let the student know that we're there for them. So what we do is we reach out to the teachers and let them know that we're going to come and do like a silent or blind observation. So that way we can collect accurate baseline data and we can potentially reduce the reactivity, meaning the student will not be on their best behavior because they know that we're there to observe them. Oftentimes when we go into the classroom, the students just assume that we're there to observe the teachers. And so we want that so that we can just kind of blend in and sit back and observe the behaviors of the student in their natural environment. So multiple observations may occur during this time before we provide some recommendations because sometimes students act one way in one classroom and they may act a different way in a different classroom. So we may do multiple observations, come back on different days to do this prior to even introducing ourselves to the student. So when the next step that we do is we actually meet with the student. So we conduct an interview, we sit down and we talk with the student, we build a rapport, we let them know what we're there for. It's not, we don't hide anything. So they know that we're there to actually help to support them to be as successful as possible, as well as working with their team of teachers and administrators. So we build a rapport with them. We conduct a preference assessment to determine what motivates them. And then we establish expectations. So we talk about the boundaries of our role, and we also, help them to understand that what it will look like when we actually come to the schools to either visit them or to interact with the administrators on their behalf. The next thing that we do is we ensure that a data collection system is in place. And if it's not already done or put in place, then we'll work with the teachers to put a data collection system in place. This is vitally important so that we are able to see if the student is doing better or if they're not. So we get the baseline data initially, we'll see what the behaviors look like. Once we start putting interventions in place, it is important that system is already set up so that we can track this data to determine if the behaviors are increasing or decreasing and if any modifications are needed within the plan. The next level, BSP, stands for Behavior Support Plan. So Behavior Support Plan Intervention, Trialing, and Training. Once interventions are decided or trialed, the team member will work with the school-based team to develop a plan based off of the data, observations, review of records, coursework, interviews, and preferences. So basically, we interact with the students to determine what works and what doesn't work. Then we sit down with the team and ensure that we're all working together to actually put this plan in place for the student. And once this plan is developed, we want to ensure that everybody that is involved with the student is also trained on this plan. If during the planning meeting, all pertinent team members are not involved or there for the meeting, because that happens, we're all busy individuals in the school system or in the school, we also reach out to those team members. So that may be we go and find the coaches that the student works with, or the security members that the student may interact with, or even the cafeteria workers. Anyone that interacts with the student, we want to ensure that everybody is on the same page and has an understanding of their plan, because we want the student to be as successful as possible. Initial implementation will occur with modeling and assisting more frequently and more hands-on on the onset of the behavior support plan. So what that means is we're going to be present. We're going to be there. We're going to be in the classrooms. We're going to be working with the teachers. We're going to be working with the administrators. So we're helping to ensure that the plan is being followed through with. We're there present to answer any questions that may come about. We're also there to kind of see what's working and what's not working. That doesn't mean that we're going to change things immediately. However, we want to see that the plan that is put in place is actually being implemented the way that it is written, the way that everybody has decided on, and that we can be there to help support if things kind of get a little shaky or go awry. We want to be there to be as supportive as possible. That's our role. As school team members become fluent in the strategies, support begins to fade to check-ins, whether it be in person or via email or phone. The goal for us to come in and to provide supports and to help with this is not to take over, but it's essentially to help support the school in supporting the student. So therefore, we can't have the student become reliant or the school to become reliant on us coming in and making the plan happen, because we will eventually fade from that student, because there are other students in other schools that need our supports as well. We're not a permanent fixture in the school. So we are going to fade. And so as we fade gradually, what the supports will start looking like is we will start checking in, whether it be in person or we will be making phone calls or emails, just to see how things are going, see if the plan is still going well, and looking at data to see that things are going as smoothly as they should. The behavior support team member will continue to analyze the data and the response to the plan to see if any modifications are needed. If we start to see that things are not going as well, then that may mean that we need to come back to the table and have a conversation about if there's any modifications needed. But all of this is a team effort, because this is all in support of the school, the school's team. So this is all done as a team together. Once the data reflects a relatively decrease in challenging behaviors, the team member will assist in fading interventions if indicated and or exit from the case. But the behavior support plan will remain with the student for the school to utilize as needed. So when we get to the point of where the behaviors have reduced to a significant level or the goals have been met, then the team member will help facilitate with the team to fade the interventions so that the student can flow efficiently within the school. However, the plan stays with the student. It doesn't go away with us. It stays with the student. So therefore, if the plan needs to be put back into effect, it is there to be able to do so. The team member will conduct maintenance check-ins by reviewing student data in Infinite Campus, sending emails to the school, making phone calls to student teams, or visiting the school to check on the student's progress. So it's not that we go away forever. We also want to make sure that things are going well. So you could expect that we would do some check-ins to just say, hey, how are things going? Oftentimes we will have a team lead person. So there's a main person that is actually for that student to make sure that things are going well. And we'll check in with that lead person to find out how things are going. So what does our supports look like during NTI? So NTI, we have been facilitating and creating communications between schools and family. So we contact parents for check-ins regarding both home and school. So that how are things going with home and school? We'll contact teachers to check in directly. So we'll find out are tasks being completed? Are they actively participating? And we work as a liaison to communicate challenges or needs for the student or family. The next thing we also do is virtual classroom support. So we'll join meetings to provide additional support, such as reinforcing desired behaviors, restating expectations or directions. We'll also model interaction style and responding strategies, or provide recommendations for whole class virtual reinforcement systems. So if you ever feel like there's a need for classroom support overall, you can always reach out to us so that we can come in and provide some supports and give some recommendations to assist with that as well. Individualized virtual classroom support. During this level, we complete indirect assessments or interviews. We utilize the BFIW and the FAI with the teacher, and observations are conducted during live meets. We provide recommendations for interventions and or formal BSP development if it's needed. And we train the teacher via modeling via live meets, phone calls, or video modeling. We also do individualized home-based NTI support. So these are usually times where the parent is reaching out and saying, I'm really having some struggles in the home. What can you do to support us? When that occurs, we complete an assessment and interview the parents. We provide recommendations or interventions to trial to increase success with NTI at the home. We train via phone, live meets, video modeling. We follow up as needed to troubleshoot challenges or needs. The last thing that we are also doing is providing training to schools on various topics. Oftentimes we'll have an administrator, a principal, or an assistant principal reach out to us and say, hey, I just need an overall training done with my teachers or whichever staff member or staff team that they're needing it for. And so we will develop a training specifically addressing the needs of that school. And we will do a virtual training for that. For those needs. So if there's ever a training that you feel like that is needed in your school, please reach out to your administrator, or if you are an administrator, please reach out to us. We are more than happy to do a virtual training for your team members to help from a behavioral aspect. So some of the things that we do and we don't do in our roles. What we do is we meet with your school and team of teachers to review, assess current, previously utilized interventions, and begin to consult with these teams to work on a solution that works with the administration, teachers, and students. We also analyze existing data and ensure data collection systems are in place. We observed, assess student behavior and interventions in place prior to meeting with the student in person to determine appropriate interventions based on functions of behavior. We'll consult with current teams to assist with the development of a plan in conjunction with behavioral support system schools already with what they already have in place. We'll consult with the teams to get training, modeling, and providing in real-time feedback and provide suggestions as needed. We also provide school and district-wide trainings regarding student behavior. What our role does not include is we are not case managers. We will help coordinate, build a team for your student, but their school knows their resources and the people best. We do not replace Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3 support. Our team seeks to strengthen staff skills and future responses to behavior. In other words, we're working to build capacity. We're not replacing building level behavior response teams. We assist staff members in the prevention and response of crisis situations, but we're not there to replace the team as a whole. We also are not there to provide one-on-one to the student specifically. There have been historically team members that come in from the board that will also be assigned as a one-on-one. This is not our role. What we do is we come in and we assist the school staff with the implementation of interventions as a whole so that we're continuing to build capacity within that school. Here's a few examples of the documents that you may see us with. Some of these documents may look familiar. One is the BFIW, it's called the Behavior Function Identification Worksheet. This is used to help us to determine what the function of the behaviors or the challenging behaviors that we're seeing. This helps us to determine what the function of those behaviors are so that we're putting effective interventions in place. This should look familiar for anyone that has done a behavior support plan. This is JCPS's template for a behavior support plan. We sit down as a team and we go through this together, and we develop this plan together based off of the information, the data, and what we all have learned about the student in general. So sometimes from a middle and high school level, we'll also get input and feedback from those students, and we ensure that they are part of the plan, because what we have found historically is that when they are part of the plan, they're more likely to follow through with the plan. Every student that I have worked with from the middle and high school level with JCPS, when I ask them, do they want to be successful? They always tell me yes. So that tells me that they want to do something to improve from the current state that they're in, and they want to do better. So then being a part of the plan allows them to feel included in feel included, and they're more likely to follow through and have some accountability with themselves. This is an example of the behavior tracking sheet that we utilize in the middle and high school level. This is sometimes given in hand, or we sometimes do this virtually or like a shared document. So it just depends on the needs of the school, depends on what the team of teachers feel most comfortable with, and based off of those needs, we'll go about it that way. But basically, we're looking at the top behaviors individually for that student, and we will have those behaviors tracked so we can collect data. I've mentioned evidence-based practices. So what is it? Evidence-based practices are interventions, strategies that have proven to be effective through replicated or peer-reviewed research. Behavior analysts and psychologists are bound by ethics to only recommend interventions that have shown to be effective through research in changing, teaching, and reducing behavior. We will work with your school level team to identify functionally appropriate interventions, target-based data collection, and monitoring systems to support individual students. These strategies, once effective, should continue even after our team is no longer needed to maintain this progress. So how do you request supports? Teachers typically communicate to their administrators, whether it be the counselor, the ECE implementation coach, the assistant principal, or the principal, your concerns and needs for additional support for that individual student. The administrative team will look through their interventions and see what it is that they have done, and then they will determine if they would like to reach out to the board to find additional supports. Once the administration determines that they do want some additional supports for us to come in, we will excitedly come and support. All they have to do is call Matt Anderson. He is matt.anderson@jefferson.kyschools.us, and his phone number is 502-235-1173. You reach out to him, and then he will get that information out to us so that we can come out and assist in any way that we can. So we are all excited and hoping that we can come out and support your school in whenever you need. So here's our team. We are a fun group, and we are always excited to come out and support our JCPS students and to do whatever that is needed for them to be as successful as possible. We love working with the staff. We love working with the teams. So we're excited to hear from you. If you have any students currently that you feel like is in need of supports during NTI, please feel free to reach out to us even now so that we can go ahead and start providing supports, see what we can do with them now, and additionally could roll over to when we actually do go back into the school building to continue on with those supports as needed. That concludes my presentation.
All right. Well, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. So again, this video will be broken up and put on the digital learning channel, so we can come back and look at it with the power of pause whenever we want. I love all the Bitmojis. I don't know what anybody ever did before Bitmoji. I don't think I ever see real pictures of people anymore. No, but that was great. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody, it is 1:57. We have 3 minutes until our next session and our last session of the day starts. We just saw MTSS Behavior Support Team Specialists for middle and high schools, and we are going to end today with using Equatio in math instructional design. And that'll be with some of our math and tech leaders. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at JCPSDigIn. Also, whenever you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn. We'll give you a like, we'll give you a follow, we'll give you a retweet, and we will try to share your brilliance around the district and around the state. That way we can all become better educators and learners and professionals together. Remember, if you're in the chat with us, please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, what you teach. If you have any questions, we appreciate you being here with us. I'm sure, presidential election yesterday, everybody's probably a little sleepy today. I had to have 2 gigantic cups of coffee this morning. I've got this big mug right here. It's a Game of Thrones mug, so the coffee's not as disappointing as the show was. Remember, you can find everything at jcps.me/NTI. You go to the Teacher Toolkit. You can find the live virtual learning schedule there, the complete NTI 2.0 Teacher On Demand playlist. And you can also if you go to that playlist, I'm so sorry. If you go to the virtual learning schedule, tonight at 4 o'clock, we have the elementary science SAVIS training. So we did those SAVIS trainings a few weeks ago on the Digital Learning Channel. We are running them again from 4 to 5:30, Mondays through Thursdays. So tonight is elementary science. Stephen Durham from our digital innovation team will be there. Lacey and Charlotte from the science team will be there. And then we'll have Dr. J and Kelly Palsrock. I'm so sorry. We'll have Kelly there as well to answer any questions that you all have live in the chat. So it's 1:59. I can see Danielle turned her camera on, which means it is time for me to stop talking and to let Stacy, Mark, and Danielle talk to us this afternoon about Equatio. Danielle, hi. How are you?
Hi, Max. How are you?
Great.
Doing
Thanks.
great. And actually, Stacy and Mark, they will probably do most of the talking. If you don't know Stacy Justice, she is incredible. She is a high school not digital, but curriculum lead in JCPS, as well as Mark, which is from directly from Tech Hub. So this is going to be an exciting show.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear from you all. Thank you for being here.
Hey guys.
Oh, hang on. Mark, do you mind to mute real quick, Mark? We're getting some feedback from your mic. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
You're okay.
Yeah, hey, welcome. I'm glad everybody's joined us on the channel today. So please let us know in the chat if you have specific questions about Equatio. I'm going to go through and introduce Mark. Mark Callahan is one of our representatives that works with Text Help, which provides us with a great resource of Equatio. All of JCPS teachers have access to Equatio within their Google Drive type access, and all students as well have access to that, so that you can use this in your math and even in science classrooms. There's some nice add-ons for science equations and science work for kids to be able to display their math understanding while they're working through that. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and Mark, let's have a conversation and show us some of the great things about Equatio has to offer.
Stacey, I am grateful for the opportunity to first of all, introduce myself to everyone, and then also provide some understanding on how you can use the Equatio features to impact your math and STEM classes. I do have some resources that I'd like to share with you, and I apologize. This is my first time on your distance learning channel. So if I want to present, is there an easy way that I can share my screen?
Yes. If you go to the top right of your window here, there should be 3 dots right there. If you click on that, there should be a share screen option.
Yes. Let's see. There it is, share screen.
Yep.
All right. Now, what I thought I'd do is kind of go over a couple of things just to kind of acclimate everybody. I've prepared some resources, and we're actually going to go in and play around with some things. But I often find it's kind of good to give everybody sort of like a baseline understanding of what Equatio can do, because it's also available on several other platforms. So I'm going to go here and click present. And just so that you know, if I'm looking off to this side, it's because I've got a larger monitor here. Makes it a little bit easier for me to share a few things.
Mark, while you're presenting, will you actually turn on closed captions for us as well?
Yes, that's excellent. Thank you for recommending that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right, I think it started.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm actually Cincinnati based, so I'm not too far away. And if you should ever need to contact me, you are always welcome to call my cell phone or reach me through email. And that can be anytime, during the day, in the evenings, on the weekends. What I wanted to do is just kind of give a quick overview of why we created Equatio, and then kind of share some additional insight for you. Stacy, if you'll do me a favor, and Danielle as well, if we receive questions in the chat box, don't hesitate to stop me. I'm going to go through these slides rather fast because I really want to get to some of the demonstration.
Sounds great. We'll watch it.
All right. Personally, I did struggle with math when I was in grade school and middle and high school. And so to me, the importance of Equatio is really evident. We know a lot of kiddos struggle with it, and it can have an impact into the different courses they may pursue when they go into college and the different job opportunities that are available to them. And so the other thing that we're kind of dealing with is COVID. Now, this past spring, everybody was challenged because you went almost immediately from being in class to non-traditional or remote learning. And that presented so many challenges for both teachers, students, parents, administrators. We know for this fall and going forward, we have to do a lot of things right to prevent COVID learning loss and just to make it easier for students and teachers to interact, whether they're in class, doing hybrid or full remote learning. Just so that you know, I've got a seventh grader. She's currently attending the remote option, but we're switching her to in-class instruction for January, assuming things don't go crazy over the holidays. So this slide is really just meant to kind of highlight the fact that you need a tool that's reliable, one that can help benefit a broad number of students and allow you to interact with students in a variety of different ways just to support differentiated instruction. I wanted to get in real quickly some of the teacher advantages to using Equatio. So one of the biggest things is it allows you to really kind of flip instruction and have a different type of participation versus the traditional pencil and paper worksheet type thing. It also gives you the chance, because you guys are a Google-based district, you can do formative assessment with the students through Google Forms and things like that. And it makes it very easy to know what students know and what they don't know. And then here's the most important thing. With COVID, I know that there were many districts that were used to providing paper-based handouts for students. And that really doesn't really work so well when you're doing digital learning. And also, I have a 5-year-old, and I know that she's not always fastidious about covering her mouth when she sneezes. So nobody wants to pick up a germy worksheet. And Equatio can really help with that. So some of the student benefits, it really allows students to become more engaged, active learners. And my 5-year-old loves the iPad. She knows more about it than I do. They're used to clicking and exploring and trying new things. And I think Equatio really plays to those skills and talents of students. It also gives you multiple ways to create and make math and demonstrate your mastery and understanding of topics and concepts. That's the thing I think I love the most. And experience breeds success. You know, it's a tool that students can use and learn how to master, and it provides a deeper level of understanding, or it has the ability to do that, and helps them develop their proficiency skills. Now, I mentioned before, and this is what I want to highlight, you guys are a Google-based district, so you're going to be engaging with Equatio for Google Chrome. And then we also have a separate app space. It's called Math Space. And that's another tool that we're gonna get into today. Equatio is also available for use with Windows and Mac, and that's called Equatio Desktop. And then Stacy, you had mentioned, I think last week, that there's a few schools in the district that actually utilize the Canvas LMS. And we have an integration with several LMSs. So that includes Canvas, Brightspace, and Schoology. And I can share more information about that with you offline, but I just thought I'd mention that today. Now, Equatio for Google is wonderful because it works where students work. So it's going to work in Google Docs. It's going to work in Google Forms, in Slides, and then the integration with Equatio Math Space is something I think that's going to be very exciting when you see what resources I'm going to share today. So think of this as sort of like a digital whiteboard, and you have the ability to create assignments in MathSpace, and you can assign those to students. They can complete those and submit them back to you. There is a ton of functionality here. And Equatio, we often get this question, who is it really designed to benefit? Well, we've got districts that use Equatio K through 12. And so what I'm going to do is kind of show you some examples of how you can use Equatio and the different resources with all grade levels. We've recently added some new enhancements to Equatio within the last several months, and this is something I'm really excited about. So we have a periodic table that's now available in Equatio, and it allows you to call up more detailed information about the individual elements with Wikipedia pop-up displays. We've also added the Desmos Scientific Calculator, and that's exciting because I believe you guys are using that on the state tests. And I went to desmos.com testing, and here's the information that it pulled up for Kentucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we've also added a molecular viewer, and this is just fascinating to me. So when we talk about Equatio being a STEM solution as well, it does do more than just math. And so I hope you'll come away from today's session with a better understanding of its STEM capabilities. And this is a little gift that Louis, who is the Text Help product manager, created for us. And I'll go in and show you some of that a little bit later. All right, now comes the fun time. I'm gonna escape out of here, and I'm going to go over to a Google Doc that I've created and will share out with everyone today. And Stacy, just as a double check, are you able to see my screen? Is it coming through all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Now, the link that you're going to receive from Stacy will ask you to make a copy of this document, so you'll have your very own copy of this, okay? And there's a couple things that I want to highlight. So the company I work for is Text Help, and Equatio is one of our solutions. And we're a Google-based company. So in my screen up here, I see a number of different extensions that I have access to, and Equatio is one of them. So I went ahead and just did a little screenshot of that so you can see it. If you're familiar with Read and Write and the Read and Write PDF Reader, we also make those solutions as well, and you all have access to those. So you should be familiar with some of these icons that you see here. Now, one of the things that's really important is knowing how to utilize Equatio. So your district has invested in Equatio, and really it's my goal to support and help make sure that you know how to use it. So you can either reach out to Stacy, who's awesome to work with, or you can always contact me with any questions. And we're happy to get back to you and help you understand what you need to know, okay? Now, my purpose in creating this document is I tend to be more of a visual learner. And so for me, in my head, if I put myself in your position, I'd want me to provide a basic, like how do I get to know how to use all the tools? And then what are some of the other important things that are good for me to know? So in this particular section, I've created links that are going to help you really develop a solid understanding of Equatio. So we have this how-to guide, okay? And that's what this link is. And I'm going to increase the size for you. So what it is it's a screenshot of the toolbar, and I've labeled all the different tools for you. And then as you scroll down, you'll see a description of each tool, the symbol, and then I've included links to videos that will quickly help you understand how to use each tool. And this is something that is a wonderful resource for teachers, but also students. And for those teachers of the younger elementary students, this is a resource that you might want to share out with parents as well. So just remember that we developed this resource to kind of help answer questions for a number of different users.
Mark, thank you so much. That's a great one-stop shop. Get nice feedback and videos on what each of those nice things do. So thank you.
Hey, it's our pleasure. Now I'm going to go back to this document and I want to highlight a few things. If you guys are used to using Read and Write, you know it has word prediction in there. And we thought that was a great idea. So we built in math prediction. And really the beauty of that is, what's more important, a student trying to figure out how to type an equation, or knowing that they can just type a few letters and have it come up, and then actually spend more time on the math. And I think it's more important to spend the time actually doing the math. So when you open up the Equatio, if you click on the teal box right here, it will give you the ability to select math options. And in there, you have the ability to have math, chemistry, and formula predictions. Now, it used to be that you had to turn them on, and I believe now they're automatically set to default in the on position. So if you don't need to have access to chemistry formulas, obviously you could turn that off. But I always recommend leaving them turned on just to be safe, okay? Now, we have a published list of the prediction items, and I want to show you what that looks like. So when you click on that link, it's going to open up this document, and there's several different tabs at the top. So these are all the math-related shortcuts you can type to bring up the corresponding symbols right here. We have a formulas tab, and this one you can just scroll down and see all the cool stuff we have in there. Chemistry, we have a lot of really cool chemistry formulas built in there. So all you have to do is type barium, and you can come up with a number of these very quickly. Now, we also have a dictation tool on here, so you can speak math and have it come up. And this kind of gives you suggestions on some of the shortcuts for using the speech input. So it's really designed to help a broad range of students. And that's why I wanted to go over this quickly with you, just so you know that that's something that you should review. Now, one of the questions that often comes up is, what is the best way to use Equatio and Equatio Math Space with students? And we have an awesome group of math and STEM educators who love Equatio, and we call them the Text Help Titans. And we've been working with them for the last year and a half or so. They've provided resources that they've created, so lessons and activities for using Equatio with a broad range of students. And I'm going to bring that link over here so you can see it. And when you open it up, you can come up here and you can use the fields up here to sort it if you want. Right now, we currently have a total of 29 resources, and we'll continue to expand that out as we move forward. But the thing that I love is that we've got resources in here for kindergarten, first grade, third grade, all the way up to 10th, 11th, and 12th. Just some really cool stuff. If you click on here, it'll open up for you. And so those resources are available as well. Now I'm going to jump back into this document. We recently recorded some videos that are really meant to help you introduce Equatio and Equatio Math Space to your students. And so I've provided those links right here. And then because the Desmos calculator, the periodic table, and molecular viewer were recently added, Louis, who is the Equatio product manager, had done an excellent video on those. And I thought it would be good for you to see that as well. Now, this link here is to the how-to guide that I just showed you, which breaks down each tool, includes a description, and then a video link so you can understand how to use it. And all those videos come from our Equatio YouTube channel. So we are constantly adding new videos to the YouTube channel every month. And this gives you the ability to go through there and just kind of review different videos and see if there's anything else that might spark your interest. Now, one thing that is very important to me is I know that Jefferson County is a very diverse district, and we love that. And because TextHelp is a global company, so we're actually headquartered in Northern Ireland, and we have many schools and districts outside the United States that utilize Equatio. Our goal is to really help create additional resources that benefit English learners. And this is something that has just become available. We have an Equatio Spanish thing link and a French thing link. And here's a snapshot of what that looks like when you open it up. And there's a number of different arrows down here you can click. And when you click on those, what it's going to do, it's going to open up a card that will provide more information about that specific tool. So in this case, I used an example from the Spanish version. We do not have our Equatio videos available in other languages. So what it's going to do is it will read this to you in Spanish or French, and then it will provide you with an access to open up the English link video. Now, it's my goal to try and get more of these thing links made in different languages to help support your students. So that's something that I'm going to be working on in the coming months. And you guys have a wonderful languages department. And I've been in touch with several people there. And so just know that as we have more resources to share with you, Stacy will help disseminate that out to everyone in the district. Now, this is more geared towards some of the teachers and administrators. One of my colleagues in California put together this wonderful document, and it explains how Equatio can support district programs. And I don't think I have that open, so I'm going to click on it so you can see what this looks like. So we've got it broken down by special education, college and career readiness, assessment and accountability, and then ELL and LEP. And essentially what Nora did is she pulled together different videos and an explanation of how these specific tools can benefit students in special education, if they have special accommodations, things like that, as well as college and career readiness. And assessment and accountability. So this may be a document that would benefit certain folks in your district. And I just wanted you to know that we've got a link to that in case that would help out, okay? Now, here's the most important part. If you have any questions about Equatio and Equatio MathSpace, I always like to highlight this again. I really want you to be able to maximize the value of this solution. So it really is important for me to let you know that if you do have any questions, I would love to hear from you, okay? So you've got my contact information here. What I thought I would do now is make sure I pop into the right tab. Okay, this is something that's kind of cool. Desmos has sample graphs already created, and you can go to their website and you can copy one of the graphs, and then you can go into your Google Doc, and I'll come right here and show you. So I've got my Callahan Equatio demo doc open, okay? And I'm going to scroll down and make some space. And this is the toolbar. So I'm going to go through this in a minute, but I want to, since we're talking about Desmos, let me just show you this. So I can open up the Desmos graphing tool, and in here I can hit Control V and paste that graph in there. And I think that's awesome. And if I want to insert it into my doc, I'm just going to come over here and hit Insert Graph. And there's the graph right there. So just know that you can find graphs that have already been created and easily copy and paste them into your doc. And that would work within Google Forms and Google Slides as well. Now, because this may be your first introduction to Equatio, I thought I'd show you. When you click on the little caret here, it's going to pop open several different resources here. I can go to options, help and support, send feedback. There's a link to Equatio Math Space. You can switch users. So if you want to see what it's like in the student view, you can do that. And then this is a way to close it as well. So I'm going to click on options, and we're going to go through this very quickly. So here is where you can select the font size. And why is this important? Well, Equatio is basically inserting an image of math into whatever resource you're using. And so it's based on pixels. So if you want to increase the size of that, you can. The font size, we can go from large to extra large or double XL. And that means there's going to be a larger volume of pixels. So if you would, and I'll show you an example of why, if I click on regular, and we'll save that, if you kind of stretch it, the clarity is a little different. So that's why we sometimes recommend you may want to put it in a larger font, and that's how that can be beneficial. Now, we've got language and speech engines, and I leave mine on automatic, which is the recommended. And then you do have the ability to translate Equatio into Spanish and French. So just know that that capability is available if you think it would help out. Here's where you turn on the math and chemistry and formula predictions. And so it's very simple to turn them on and off. We've got a toolbar options. So some people will often say, Mark, I don't really know LaTeX, and I don't know it either myself. So it depends on whether or not you want to have that feature turned on. All right. So maybe for some of the elementary students, it might be easier for them to have fewer tools on. And that's a way that you can go in and have that customized. Now we do have some insert options. One thing about Equatio is that many colleges use it through their disability services office. And the reason that's important is you can use it for math textbook conversion. So some of the features in here are geared more towards colleges as well. This gives you an example of your profile. So you guys will all have access to all the premium features. And then this right here kind of gives you access to some of the tools that we use in there. But that gives you a real quick overview of how this works, and I close that out. And so we're back to the Desmos graphing area. I'm going to come over here and click on the equation editor. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there are some dots here. I have to find them on my larger screen, and it allows you to move your working area up or down, okay? So you just look for those, you click on it with your mouse, and you can move that up or down. Now, I had told you before that we have the prediction built in, and you're probably thinking, well, what does that mean? So I'm going to show you right now. So we'll type in QUA. You can see that that brings up the quadratic formula. Now, I can just tell you that that is a very complex formula. And if I was a student, I don't know that I'd want to have to learn how to memorize that. But the beauty is I could just type QUA, and then I can come up here into my document. And if I click on this tool, it disappears. So then I can delete that. Wherever my cursor is, that's where the math will insert. If I come over here and I click Insert Math, you'll see it there. Now, I don't know if this is going to work or not because I've had some issues with my audio. But Stacy, you mentioned people were interested in the screen reader, and this is something that I think is amazing. So if I come down here and I click on the screenshot reader, and I use the crosshairs to surround that, right? It's going to do optical character recognition and read that back to me.
Fraction with the numerator negative plus or minus the square root of e squared minus 4ac has denominator 2a.
Okay, now why is that important? So as I've been demoing Equatio over the last several years, I've frequently had math teachers tell me, oh, wow, that says it more accurately than I say it in the classroom. Sometimes I don't always say numerator or denominator. And so think about students who are doing non-traditional learning, right? They may not have access to somebody who can accurately read the math to them. And that is not a problem anymore because I can click the play button over and over and over again, as many times as as the student, need it to hear it. And the beautiful thing is it's helping me develop my language of math, right?
Yes, and Mark, that's why I love it so much. And that's why we so use it, because it's really reinforcing that vocabulary.
It does. And so that's the wonderful thing. Like, if I had had access to Equatio when I was younger, like, I often wonder how different things would have turned out. And I'll just say that the impact is, like, I wanted to become an architect, but I decided that I didn't think I could handle the math. So that made me choose a different path in college. And I think back now and I'm like, I could have easily figured it out, but I didn't know it back then. And so that's why I think, just for me, that is the power of Equatio right there. Now, I want to show you something that's really important, these 3 dots. Wherever you are, so you could be on the web or in a PDF or a various number of places, you have the ability to copy the math into Equatio, right? And so even though you may not use LaTeX, you can use this on, like, what if you're in Khan Academy and you pause a video and you use the screenshot reader to surround the math? You can actually copy it into Equatio, paste it in, and then put it in your Google Doc. And that's an awesome way for teachers to go in and find different things that they can use. Or if you want to go and say, hey, we saw this video, let's practice this problem. So just know that that capability is there. All right, so I'm going to close that. Stacy, do you think there's any questions about the screenshot reader or anything that we've covered so far?
I'm not seeing it in the chat, and I think you really gave us a great kind of dip into the possible ways we can use it.
All right, cool. Now, the other thing that I love is this problem right here. A lot of times, students need to show or demonstrate that they understand how to solve the problem. So I'm going to go back into the equation editor, and I'm going to clear this away, and I'm going to show you, we're going to work this through, okay? And I'm going to raise this up a little bit so I have more room to work. And I'm going to type, so I'll type 3x, and then you can either type minus, or you could hit the minus sign, okay? 14 equals 10. Now, here's the really cool thing. I'm going to hit Shift Enter, and it's going to drop me down to the next line. And so now I'm going to type 3x equals 24. Shift Enter, 3x. And if you look at the question mark key on your if you hit that, it will do the fraction sign. Okay.
Oh, so you're talking about on the keyboard?
Yes. I'm sorry, I blanked out on the word.
Keyboard. Oh, wow.
So you can either type over, okay, and it'll put it there, or you could just type the question mark key on your keyboard and it'll add it in. So now I'm going to type 3, and now here's the part, you have to hit the space key to move it over, okay? So 3x over 3 equals, and then I'm going to do 24 over 3. Oh, and that didn't work. So hold on a second. See if this works now. And I'll do that. And then I'm going to come here and delete that. Now, I hit Shift Enter again, and so that brought down the other line. But let me just stop there for a second.
And Mark, what I love about showing us the process, kids can do this and they'll write it out on paper all day long, but getting them to kind of transfer that, and they can show us in words. It's really fun.
Yeah, and Stacy, if we need to do more of these sessions, like, I'm always thrilled to do that. So now we come down to the part where we're going to do, okay, x equals 24 over 3. I'll space it over and I'll hit Shift Enter again. Now I'm going to do x equals 8. Now, there's a couple of cool things that we built in. You see that there are some additional symbols up here, right? And you're looking at here and you're thinking, wow, that's in blue. So what if I wanted to change the color on this? Well, there's a way to do that. So I just come over here to text color and you have these options. So if you wanted to have the problem in the Google Doc and then you wanted to have the students solve it and show their work, you could say, hey, show your work and color everything red. Okay, you have that ability. There is also a way to insert text, and that's what the T is for. And if you like certain formulas, you can love them, and it'll make it easier for you to access them again. And then, of course, this is the symbol to, if you want a clear thing, you can. And if I click on more, there's other resources that are in here, okay? Along with a search tool. So if you need to find something quick, you can just search, like, what if you have like a chemistry term that you're searching for, like sodium bicarbonate or what have you. You could search for that. So just know that those are there, okay?
Mark, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So if you can, highlight that and make that text all blue, like you had originally. So this is completely a question that just came up. If this is a student's paper that they've submitted to me in Google Classroom on Google Doc that I'm looking at, could I go in and edit their math and highlight maybe where they made a mistake and highlight that in red as a feedback option? Or not highlight or just want color to red?
Yes, that's an awesome way to do that. So let's say, so Stacy, you could do that, and I'll just show you. We're going to insert it right here. Now, remember when I said before about how the font size can be different? So I have this in regular, and I did this in a larger font size. You can click on the image and stretch it out, but do you see how this one is more clear? That's because it has the more pixels in it. I use the larger font. So let's pretend that you're here, you've opened up this document, and you click on this. What you're going to do is come down here to edit math, Stacy, right? And it's going to bring it back in here. And I'll show you how that works. Let me clear that out. I'll click on this, and it brings it back inside. All right? So you could then go in here and change the color. Let's say you want to do it in purple, right? And just say, you know, this needs to be, let's say, I'll just say, this won't be right, but I'll just say it needs to be 4x. Does that make sense? And then we would go over here and insert that math. And depending upon how you wanted to do it, like you could make the other text a different color and just highlight that line to show, hey, this is the important one. You do have that capability. Now, there's something else that I want to show you here too. When you highlight this, you have the ability to change the alignment. So now it's aligned to the left, okay? If I wanted to have it aligned to the center or the right or aligned to relation, you could do that. This gives you the ability to add a new column and a new row too, okay?
So I have a question about the new column. So if, say you've got the work there, would the new column allow me to add a column and put text description of what happened?
So you could, let's see. This problem is designed to review what we covered in class today.
So that's a nice way to give feedback too on student work.
Yes, that's an excellent suggestion. Now I want to show you what this is going to look like when we go ahead and insert this, okay? I just need to, let's see, I'll click out of here. And so that's what that looks like. And obviously I made a mistake on the H, but I could bring that back in there and correct that if I wanted to, okay? Now, I want to show a more of a simpler problem for the younger students. So here's a great example of me doing just some basic addition, okay? I'm going to put my cursor right here, and I'm going to go here and trash this. And I want to show you how we've got this built in. If I type in ADD for addition, it's going to bring up we've already got it set up in there, so you can have an addition 2-digit vertical or a 3-digit vertical. All right. Now, what if I type SUB for subtraction? We've got the exact same thing in there. All right. Multiplication, MULT. You can type those in and get those. They're already pre-built for you. All right. We also have long division in there as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the addition, and I'm going to show you how I did this. So I'm going to click on the 3-digit vertical, and you'll notice in here that I've done a carryover, right? So if I put my cursor right over here, let's see if I can get it to go up. And then I do Shift-Enter. That's going to give me the carryover row, okay? And so now I can type in 1, 3, 4, and then 16, okay? And down here, 4 and 6 is 10, right? So I bring my cursor back up here, and I put the 1 in there, and I've got 4, 5, 6, and then I come over here and I've got the 1, right? And then I'll be able to go ahead and insert that math into the document. And it shows up right there. Oh, and I accidentally deleted it, sorry. So that is how you can go ahead and do that, all right? Now, we've kind of covered how to use the equation editor. And just know that in the resources I've shared, you're going to see more instruction on how to utilize and how to do math in there. Now, LaTeX is something where it's more of a math formula that college instructors and faculty probably use. It's not something that I will typically use, but again, if I go out to a website, so I did algebra examples, and I've clicked on the images right here. So let me just show you how you can use the screenshot reader. So I click on Equatio icon, and the toolbar looks different here on the web. So let me just show you what we've got. We've got the screenshot reader. We've got the ability to move the toolbar wherever you want, okay? This is a discoverability tool. Access to the periodic table, the scientific calculator, and the molecular viewer. And if I want to get rid of this, I just click on this arrow and it'll disappear. But let me show you something. If I click on the screenshot reader, I can go ahead and surround the math. All right. And just like when we were in the Google Doc, it's going to OCR it.
Line 1, 3x minus 10 equals 11. Line 2, 3x minus 10 times increment positive 10 close to it equals 11 times increment positive 10.
Now, that is a wonderful thing, okay? It is going to read that math accurately, and I love that. But what if I want to copy it? So I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and because we have the LaTeX editor in there, okay, I can copy with LaTeX. And just so you know, the Copy Math ML is a resource that more colleges use because they're using Microsoft Windows, and this is how they do text conversion, okay? But we've copied it with LaTeX. I'm going to go back into my document here, and I'm going to delete what's in there right now. And I'm going to put my cursor in here and hit Control V. Now, it took the LaTeX, it pasted it right here, and then you can see this is what it looks like. So that's fantastic. So if I put my cursor here in the document and I tab over and then I click Insert Math, I've been able to capture math from a website and easily paste it into my document. And then I can go in and change this up. So a teacher might say, hey, here's the example that we saw in Khan Academy. I'm going to do a couple different variations of this for you to practice on. It just makes it super easy for you to do that. So just know that that's how you can do that with the LaTeX. One thing that I want to show you with the with this, we're in Desmos, and I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff, and I want to show you a cool feature. So sine of x, and let's see if I don't think I did that right. So let me try it again. All right. X. There is a way that you can hear the graph, okay? And I hope this will work. So on Chromebooks, you can hit Alt-T, and that's gonna turn on audio trace, okay? And then if you hit the H key for here, all right, I don't know if you could hear that, but it actually lets you hear what the graph is. Now that
Totally, we can hear that.
Yeah, I'm blown away by that. That is an accessibility feature that is designed to support students with vision issues. And I think it's something that every student would love because it is. I mean, you're used to seeing graphs on pencil and paper, and you can see it here on the screen, but to be able to hear the graph, it just...
I'm wondering with your if you put the X right next to it instead of a space, if it would do that.
You know what, Stacey? I think that's the problem. So let me try and do that again. X. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's supposed to be curvy, and it's not cooperating with me today, so I apologize for that. But it's a cool feature, and there's a video in the resource doc that I've shared with you. And let me go back and I'll show you where that's at. So under district program support and accessibility features, here's a link so you can hear the Desmos graph in Equatio. And then you can also have screen readers work with Equatio, and the molecular viewer also has accessibility as well. So just know that those videos are in there. I think it's important for you to have access to that information as well.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. So I'm back in this document now. So we've covered how to use the equation editor, LaTeX editor, the Desmos graphing. I'm going to show you how to use the handwriting recognition. And I'm going to give myself some space. So let me close this down. I'll move some of these problems out of the way. All right, now there's a couple ways you can do it. If you've got a touch screen, you can do that, all right? You can also use your mouse. And so I've got a monitor and my laptop set up today, so I'm actually gonna use my mouse to show you how to do this. But I'm gonna go 3 plus 10 equals 13. And, you know, hey, my mouse skills they're pretty decent, but you can see that it's picking it up accurately right here, okay? Now, let's say I made a mistake. I could just delete that, right? And I could delete that too, and I could start over, and I could do like 5 times 5 equals 25. And then if I want to insert it, I just click Insert Math, and it'll go into the document. Now, I think that's kind of cool because it just gives you another way to create math if you're so inclined to do so. So I'm going to delete that right now. And I apologize if we have some people mowing yards outside, and it seems kind of loud on my end, but hopefully it's not coming through on yours. Now, this is one of the most exciting things. It's the dictation tool, so speech input. And I can go ahead and dictate math. All right, so you come up here and you start speech input. 5 times 5 equals 25. Now, I can also talk, and I had a math teacher tell me, he's like, I was playing around with this last night and I had the TV on. And you could see the dialogue from the TV show appear over here in the screen, but it only picked up the math, okay? Now, over here, I'll turn that off. It's added some extra stuff in there, and I just simply go ahead and backspace and get rid of that. And then I can add in the 5. But I thought that was cool, and obviously it did pick up some other stuff. But we've really tried to make it sensitive to only pick up the math. And that can be important because if you're in a classroom and you've got students who are talking and just engaging, you know, the level of noise in the room could, you know, be a factor, but we've really tried to make it easy so that if the student's wearing a headset, they can dictate it and it will put their math in, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, again, all I have to do is hit the insert math and it shows up just like that. Now, I didn't really cover this today, but there is a smartphone app. And what it allows you to do, should have teed this up, and I apologize, Stacy, I didn't do that. But I can have Equasio on my phone. So I'm going to show you the camera on there, and you can click on that app. You have to, the way you go to download it is you click on Equasio Mobile, all right? And you can either, it'll take you there through here. Here's the most important thing. If you have an Android phone, you've got to download it through the Google Chrome, all right? And if you're using an Apple iPhone, you've got to do it through Safari to download, okay? And then once you get there, it's going to allow you to sign in, and you're going to sign in through your JCPS account. And then it will give you the ability to take a picture of math, and you can insert it into your document. It'll also convert your math as well. And this is something that's really kind of cool. So if you want to have students show their work, maybe they can write it down on a piece of paper, snap a picture of it, and insert it. I've got a video that will walk you through it. It's a really neat feature. We had a limited amount of time, and I really wanted to spend a little bit more on math space, because that's something that you asked about. So here's a link to insert math space. So you can actually go out and open up a math space, copy what you do, and put it in here. And I'll show you why you'd want to do that. This is the screenshot reader, which we've covered. And then this is the STEM tool. So just let me show you that. When you click on it, it's going to open up the periodic table, the scientific calculator, and the molecular viewer. And I've got a video in the resource page that walks you through all that. So I want to do one quick thing. We're going to go into a PDF. All right. Now, because your district has access to read and write, okay, I've got read and write open up here, and I've got Equasio down here. So what if I'm a student and I need help with the instructions? I could highlight the instructions and have read and write read them to me.
Value of each expression in lowest terms.
Okay. And then I can use the screenshot reader to have it actually read the math to me accurately. So that's a way how you can use both tools to benefit students as they need them. I like to think of these resources as these are tools that are going to help me out when I need them. And I may not need to use the same tools every day, but they're there if I do. All right. Now, I want to show you something on here. So I'm going to use the screenshot reader to highlight this math. I'm going to edit it with Equatio. So I'm in here, I'm going to hit Shift Enter, and I know that that's got to be 12 over 16 plus, I made that mistake again. Hold on. All right, I need to give myself a space, add the plus sign, and then do 1 over 16 equal, I did it again, sorry about that, equals.
I do it all the time when I'm in there.
Oh my gosh, and on demos, so I'm like trying to be conscious of time and everything. Okay, so I've got that set up. So now if I want to go ahead and highlight this, and I want to change the color of it, Stacy, just to demonstrate my work, I can do that. And then I'm going to hit Insert Math, and I'll just show you how this works. So you'll click on that, and you see the little cross right here? This allows you to drag it and place it wherever you'd like, okay? Now, this is cool because I can have it read aloud to me again. If I don't like it, I can delete it. And if I'm happy with where it's at, I just click the check. And that's how you can have students demonstrate their work in a PDF, okay? Now, I'm gonna connect to a next tab, and this is Math Space. Now, I just wanna highlight Louis, who's the Equatio product manager. He's the guy that creates all the videos, and I love Louis, and you're actually gonna get to meet him soon because we've got another session planned and he'll be joining us. Now, Louis did us a favor and he created many, many math spaces, and I'm gonna share those with you. So in the document that I created, there's gonna be a link to this document and you're gonna be able to see cool stuff on here. Now, I wanna show you a couple of things. So you can create assignments, multi-page assignments in here, okay? And then here's an example of one of Louis' math spaces, and it's a copy of Pizza Party. And I already have it open in this tab, I believe. So let me just go over here. Let's see. All right. This is awesome. You're a young kiddo, and this says, Miss L has a very special pizza order. Help me prepare my pizza by placing the right amount of ingredients on the blank pizza. So we know that all 4 squares are going to get pepperoni, right? So you're going to bring those over, and the students can place them wherever they want. And we're kind of running out on time, so I'm going to be quick. Mushrooms only go on 1/4 the side, okay? 2/4 get the green pepper. And then 3/4 get the black olives. So I'll put those on here. And you can just see, this is a fun way for students to learn how to do math. Now, there's a couple extra things down here on the bottom of the toolbar that you need to be aware of. So we've got the traditional equation editor, LaTeX, Desmos graphing, and the way to do handwriting, dictation, and Equatio Mobile. This is a select tool. So Louis actually has an example of like teaching students how to tell time. You can actually use a select tool to create arrows so you can have like 8:20 or 10:15, and it allows the students to move that. You have freehand drawing capabilities, but these are the things that I think are going to blow your mind. We have a shapes library built in here. Now, when you pull this up, if you click on the 3 dots, you're going to have access to an expanding library of shapes. And what's really important is this has grown because so many people have said, hey, I want to see this in there. And really like to put our customers' feedback into Equatio and Read and Write and all our solutions. So if there's something
I want to highlight, Mark, there were a couple of things like the fraction bars that we asked about, and then all of a sudden, a month or so later, they've chopped up. And so you guys are really utilizing teacher feedback within the class.
Well, and we do new product updates like pretty much every 8 weeks. And I'm always blown away with Louis and what the development team come up with. So you've got that. And then I also want to show you this. We have a number of different smart shapes that are in there as well. So there's a number line, a grid, protractor, fraction circle, just a ton of really cool stuff. And then there's access to the STEM tools as well. Now, I'm going to go back to this document. So you'll see that we've got stuff for like first graders, sixth graders. Louie's got some lesson plans created. Here's the pizza party math space. There's Pi Day activities. There's even a Thanksgiving algebraic thinking activity. So lots of cool things for you to explore. And just know that if you've got any questions on how to use it, we are here to help you. It is 2:59 and this hour has just blown by. So I just want to highlight that Stacy is going to share the link for this document, and I have it set to forced copy. So when you click on it, you'll need to make your own copy, and then I'll have the ability to add to this as needed. So as more important things come on, you'll have one document to go to for resources. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. I know it was shared through the chat panel. I believe Danielle shared that with us. So we are good to go. And thank you so much, Mark, for showing us all those great features.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. Stacy, I'm grateful for your time, and Danielle for your help as well. If there is anything we can do to support your efforts, just let us know, okay?
Thank you, Mark. That was awesome. I just learned a few tips myself. So, and I tweeted out. So feel free to, if you're on Twitter, go to Twitter and look at all the awesome resources and tips that I shared out.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you all. All right, everybody on the channel, that is it for us today. Thank you for joining us on your Wednesday. We will be back actually at 4 o'clock for some elementary science SAVIS training. If you missed that, we will have Stephen Durham, Lacey Eccles, Charlotte Ivy, Dr. Jay Walton, and Kelly Poundsrock from SAVIS, from CDLI, and from our Dig In team, all together to answer some questions in the chat live for you on that tonight. And then we will be back next week for some more amazing sessions with you. So these videos today will be broken up and put on the channel tomorrow morning. So if you need to come back and watch something, please do. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your week.